Welcome to part 3 of this 5-part Minelab Manticore new user guide. Now in this video we'll be covering the menus, sub-menus and key features. And this is where we can start to fine-tune this Minelab Manticore and get the most out of your investment. From this point on, your Minelab Manticore journey will really start to gather momentum. So let's get going. Menus and features. Well, there's a lot to cover in this episode, so I'm going to get straight into it. Once again, this is a new user guide, so I'll only give you the relative information I think you should know. And of course, as you advance with the machine, then you can unlock some of the expert features. So let's get straight into it, menus and features. If ever you see the pencil icon, that's telling you there is a sub-menu attached to this page. So for example, if we go down one, the volume, there's no pencil, so there's no sub-menu. So the menu is accessed via the cogwheel. The first thing we see is the volume. How loud do you want the headphones or the speaker? Self-explanatory. Number 2, the factory default programs, we've seen them. Noise cancel. Now you can do a manual noise cancel, an automatic noise cancel, what we saw in part 1, or the rolling noise cancel by pressing and holding it. So that's your noise cancel. Press the up button for one more. Now ground balance, that's a dangerous territory, because if your machine hasn't got a strong enough signal to make an accurate calculation on ground balance, it will get it wrong. Most parts of the UK we don't have mineralised ground, so there's actually no need to ground balance. Several times I look at people's Manticores and they're having problems with them and they've got the ground balance set way off. So if it was me, I tend to leave the ground balance on 0 and just leave it at that. Some people use the tracking button so it automatically tracks the ground. Again, I'm not a big fan of it, but I know overseas they've got some really highly mineralised ground, so it might be worth reading your instruction manual on how to ground balance correctly. One more, recovery speed. Do you want the machine to recover slower or faster? Now, recovering faster will make your machine see much more targets per sweep because it's recovering faster. It's working overtime. It's like a fast shutter speed on a camera. But if you go to a lower recovery speed, then you're going to get yourself a little bit more depth, but you will be seeing too many targets over the sweep and you may get some confused audio sounds and visuals. So I find a happy medium is between 5 and 6 for me here in the UK. I tend not to touch it too much, you know. One more. Discrimination pattern. You've got all metal or you've got a custom. And this is where you can manipulate your different accept reject ranges based on this button here, the accept reject button and the arrow keys. Can you see me moving along there? So if I wanted to reject something like, I don't know, 41, I just hit that and you'll see there I've got a line from top to bottom on the target ID 41. Now I think Minelab have missed a bit of a trick here, because if I was to reject a certain target up here and I press the reject button, it rejects the whole line. Why doesn't it just reject a small dot where the target would fall on? I think that's a little bit too aggressive when it comes to accept reject. And also if you use, you can make the bars a lot thicker. So if you reject that whole range there, can you see what it's done? Look. Again, I think perhaps Minelab should look at making little tiny squares where you can set them up and reject them. And I think the CTX 3030 had the very same things. Oh, that didn't take long at all. 24. What's this? That is a nice Roman fibula. Oh, you beauty. Here we have your discrimination presets. So again, we've got the pencil icon so we can lower the upper limits or raise or lower the lower limits. We've got custom. We can set our own custom one and save it and assign it. You get it. Ferrous volume, that's your iron volume, that's your iron low, or you can turn the iron tone high. I tend to have it quite high actually, I like a high iron buzz. One more, ferrous pitch, how high do you want the iron tone? Personally, I like it on its lowest point, which is a factory default. Go one more, stabiliser. Now if your machine gets a little bit unstable at higher sensitivity levels and it just gets a little bit annoying, then you can run a higher stabiliser just to smooth the machine out. But it comes at a trade-off because higher stabiliser levels can lose you some targets if they're really low conductors. But personally, I always aim for having a stabiliser off if I can. I only use a stabiliser if it's really needed. Now we're into our tones. We have, let's start at the top there. Right, one tone, a single tone, a yes or no. Two tones, a low tone and a high tone, and you can adjust this. We'll be talking about tones in part 4, so I'm not going to get too much into depth. So we've got 2 tone, 5 tone, 1 regional tones, 2 regional tones, 5 regional tones, and we're back to 1 tone. Now I know that's going to sound a little bit confusing, but don't fret too much on the tones. It really is quite simple. Audio themes, we've got normal, enhanced, depth, prospecting, and we're back to normal. But we've got a pencil icon there so we can get into that. Threshold, do you want an audio threshold in the background? Threshold pitch, what do you want the pitch at? Let's get rid of this threshold. And if we keep coming down, we've got profile, we've got simple, medium and rich. Now the profiles are based on target intensity. Do you want the deep targets to sound deep, or do you want the deep targets to have the same audio intensity as the shallow? Yeah, this is something I'll go for. Now if you want even more target intensity, shall we say, profile medium. Now if you go to rich, that separates that scale even more. Have a listen now. So I'd only recommend you use the rich tone if you've got headphones on. I wouldn't use it when you're using the speaker because it becomes a little bit too quiet. And on the other end of the scale, we've got simple with no modulation. That's perfect for me. Let's have a look, see what this is. There you go. Okay, it's a decay shotgun cartridge, but that was 9-10 inches deep. Okay, let's go back. Let's talk about these audio themes. Enhance. So that's an interesting one. And I think a lot of people misunderstand it by reading the manual. The manual says use enhance mode if you've got areas of high EMI. But I've got another theory and I've done a video on this and you can see it right up there. And if you want to see a link to it, I'll post it in the comments below. Let's go one more. Depth. That's a VCO tone, voltage controlled oscillator. It's got no tonal ID, but it does give you an interpretation of depth. Shallow is quite loud. deep is quite quiet. Now the depth audio theme uses less filtering, so it's quite a punchy sound, and if you want the most out of your Manticore, it's probably the one to go for. One more, prospecting, unless you're gold hunting, don't even go there. But your normal is a good all-round sound. It's got lots of harmonics with it. There's lots of information within the signal. Let's go one more. Multi-IQ. I think with the Manticore you're going to be using multi-IQ most of the time. It does have single frequency options. 5 kilohertz, 10 kilohertz, 15 kilohertz, 20 kilohertz, 40 kilohertz. They're single frequencies. When would I use single frequencies? If I had some really bad EMI and I just couldn't get rid of it using the noise cancel. That's probably the only time I'd use single frequencies. One more, general settings. Okay, let's hit the cog icon. English, that's select your language. You can have the handle so it vibrates on the target, something I've not used. The lighting panel, we saw that in part 1. Soft keys. Now we can assign soft keys as a shortcut. Now I did mention this in part 1 actually. So you have the soft key there, which is your favorite program. You have a soft key there, which is your accept, reject, and you have a soft key here, which is your horseshoe. And the only one I change is this one to the noise cancel. I wouldn't touch anything else, so I'd leave them as they are. Let's go one more. Ferrous indication. You can have the ferrous so the whole number turns red, or you can have the ferrous so you just get a red line underneath it. Let's go one more. You can reset your machine, factory reset. Underwater boost for your headphones, on or off. Something I've not used again. Software info, you can see what software version you're using and some sort of compliance stuff where it tells you all about various things we're never going to understand. So let's go back, and there we are, back into the detect screen, and that is your Minelab Manticore menu. Congratulations, you survived part 3, and in part 4 we'll be talking about the tones and the tone profiles, and there's no need to wait because it's coming up right now on your end screen.